The ducks are getting really big. They make a terrible mess anytime I fill their pond, so it's been raining like once or twice a day, so it's just been filling that empty little kiddie pool, and they're making it disgusting again. They make it smell so terrible, but they refuse to leave the canopy of the trees. Probably fear of hawks or something, but I want them to go out and feed themselves, but I have to feed them because they won't explore. They go like over here, like on the beside the carport, but like they won't leave the shade of the trees that are around the house. But the chickens, they're also getting pretty big. Snow's such a good helper. It's actually kind of fun. First thing in the morning, when either Ricky or I open the doors to the coops, they just come pouring out, and I have to fill their fooders because they all come running when they see me. They think that I have food for them, and if they don't have food in their little feeders, then it's difficult to walk through here because there's like a circle of chickens around my feet, and I have to like gently kick them out of the way so I can get to their feeders with my scoop. But I feed them like 2 or 3 times a day because instead of like running around in their yard trying to find bugs, they'll pile up right here where I come in and just wait instead of looking for food. They're so silly. But Ricky said this whole area would be a dirt patch when they're older, and you can see kind of around the coop where they kind of hide in the heat of the day, that they're underneath that coop. They're keeping it mowed under there. But the tomato plants that I planted in here for them, when I first started letting them out, they had destroyed that tomatoes in like 2 days, so they won't have tomatoes. But I've been feeding them cucumbers and squash from the garden to try to stretch their food because... What are you screaming about? Because we have so many... sorry, they're just so fun to watch. They're like sparring and whatnot. We have so many canned pickles and squash, so I've just been going in the garden and getting that for them. And we've been eating some fresh while we have it. I harvested some potatoes the other day, and Ricky made home-style taters, but he used sweet potatoes, so that was an interesting change. But I've still got more potatoes growing, so I'm just waiting. This melon, I don't know, it just keeps getting fried. I just keep watering it, and it kind of perks back up a little bit. It's got a lot of melons growing on it. The cucumbers, the cantaloupe are starting to look like cantaloupe. So I found this idea in a book, and this whole thing just is working out perfectly. So far. But that'll be food for me and for the chickens, because Ricky doesn't like watermelon. But they're all getting... There's Ricky's favorite. Oh, come out from behind the grass so we can see you. Yesterday, I was trying to get to their feeders in like afternoon, and I couldn't move because they were all under my feet. So I roared like a bear as loud as I could, and they all booked it under the coops so I could get to their feeders. But they're starting to look like chickens now. They're getting pretty designs and stuff. Some of them are just white or brown. But I can't stop thinking of them as those cute little poof balls that they were. Those two were sparring. I was hoping to catch it on camera. Show them how tough you are. I put these over here hoping to attract the ducks away from the trees, but my garden is it just went nuts. I mean, it's just, I can't even tell where the beds are anymore except for the plants. But there's my sweet potatoes and my potatoes. They're just all over. I just walk across them, whatever. My okra, still waiting for it to produce. I'm letting a lot of the squash go to seed. I'm letting a couple of my cucumbers go to seed. But they all just did really well for me. Look at those cucumbers. I don't even use my garden basket anymore out here. I get a 5-gallon bucket. The weight of those cucumbers is taking my fence down. There's a giant cucumber over there. Up on the fence. Oh, there's another. But, I've just been letting it do its thing, and, the corn is getting pretty big. I think I read that when these dry, it's time to harvest. I need to look at my book again. But, I mean, it's not big enough to... Well, there's a big one. And it's got dried stuff. I don't know, maybe it's ready. The wind and stuff that's been coming with all of these storms, that's a corn plant that's been knocked over by the storms. Because we just don't ever have any wind here. And when we do, nothing is prepared for it. So it just breaks, or wow, there's a big one. That one might be done. I don't want it to go too long because it'll just be chicken food. I wanted some of it for us. Some of it I grew for the chickens. Ricky's pickled radishes did not turn out very well. They were pretty gross and they smelled gross, so we don't know what went wrong. But I had planted them for the animals anyway, so all future radishes, if they're not eaten fresh, will probably be given to the chickens and the rabbits. But we gave the tops of the carrots to the rabbits, and they loved it. Oh my gosh. Look at the peas and beans on this corn stalk. It's amazing. They all used to look so puny, and now they're just taking over. But all this work has paid off. But next month, I think today's like July 27 or something. I don't know. Ricky's not home. The internet's been crapping out, so he had to take his laptop to a Marriott to work. Away from home. Uh-oh, something's eating this. I don't know what this is. It's probably just a weed, who knows. Oh, look, Japanese beetle. I guess they've moved over here. I guess that's why I haven't seen them in my orchard. Oh, yep. They are all over right here. Oh my gosh. It's been a couple of days since I've walked through here. Some of the corn was ready, and while I was out there I saw okra, so I'm gonna go get some okra now. I was taking my cart over to the new garden beds that I'm building over there, and I looked over and thought I saw a sleeping chicken. Got some stuff I'm going to lay down on top of there. And I reached my foot under the fence and poked it. And this is right next to it. I don't know what bird that belongs to, but he's definitely dead. That's terrible. Every couple of days I go to the garden and I get a 5-gallon bucket of nothing but cucumbers. And they love them. In the chicken pen there's all these peels. They won't eat the peel, but they'll eat the insides. And hopefully it's saving me on food because I'm already using probably, I fill that about a third full. So about, I don't know, probably the whole 5-gallon bucket every single day on top of what stuff I find in my tiny little garden. These hungry chickens. I used a third of a bucket this morning and they've pretty much decimated it. That's crooked beak right there. I keep that bowl because it gives him a chance to dig his beak deep and get food. But typically I stand over there and just kind of fling the cucumbers in here, and wherever they lay, there's a peel. Completely empty. They're just everywhere, these peels are. Wherever they land, there's another peel. But whatever keeps them fed, right? Here they come running. They like cucumbers. So I'll come out here in a couple of hours and all these cucumbers will just be piles of peels. They're all working on them. They are such hungry chickens. Oh, and we found another dead chicken. So there was one dead over there, and then Ricky found one last night dead over here by the fence, both of them. The one over in the corner was laid down like it was asleep. The one over here was on its side. So I don't know, they were both white chickens. I don't know what killed them. They had no signs of mortal wounds. So they were just dead out of nowhere. So I've sprinkled DE inside of their coops, and I've given them DE a couple of different times in their chicken feed for chicks. But I don't know, it couldn't have been parasitic. I mean, I don't see any signs of coccidiosis in any of the others, so I don't think that's the problem. I just don't know what it is. But they're all getting so big. Can you believe that they used to be little bitty poof balls? Now look at them. These right here, they're super smart and they're super fast. They're smarter than all the other chickens. And whenever they get out of the fence, which every single day chickens are outside of the fence, the most I've had was probably half of these guys. And we put up a cage over there, and we use it to kind of chase them around the fence, and they're not smart enough to go around it, so they're stuck in that corner, and we just pick them up and throw them over. And they scream bloody murder until you pick them up, and then they realize, oh, I'm not dying, and then you throw them over and they're fine. And they do that every day, like they don't know who I am yet. They know who I am when I'm carrying either this bucket or their feed scoop, but if I don't have that, then they run and scream. But those brown guys, they run and scream no matter what. They don't like me. But they sure like the food that I bring them. But come October, my mom said she wants to come and help with the slaughter of all the boy chickens. We don't know, they sent us a variety of breeds, so we don't know who's a boy exactly. We assume the ones with the big old red combs are boys, but I know one thing that'll tell us for sure is whenever they start cock-a-doodle-dooing. Every morning when I wake up, the neighbor's chickens are cock-a-doodle-dooing. and you can hear them from, you have to drive a really long way to get to our nearest neighbors, so I can hear those chickens. They still cheep. Occasionally, you'll hear one that kind of sounds like a chicken and it'll cluck, but most of what you hear is cheeping still. I don't know how many weeks it's been. I lose all track of time. I try to ask Ricky what day is it, what number is it, but I just can't keep up. All the days are the same. Every morning, come and feed the chickens after you let them out, and sometimes Ricky lets them out. And go get the rabbits some food out of the fields and bring them outside. But all the babies are, rabbits are getting big too. I have the first set of babies completely weaned and eating greens and pellets. They don't even stay with mom anymore. Of course, I don't trust her since she attacks everybody all the time. I left her in the barn for like 3 days after she bit me and all the babies and everybody else because I didn't want to pick her up and take her anywhere. But yesterday I gave her the rabbit tractor because I felt like there was enough. Had my revenge. Let me turn on these lights here. These guys are next. They're probably weaned. They use these little holes here as highways to go to whichever cage they want. So they have free access to water and food at all times because every cage has food and water. Typically, Mrs. Mustard is not in her cage. It's really weird. Usually I put them all in their cages, and then in the morning, she is usually all the way over here where Penelope stays. But last night I put Penelope in here, and Nachier stays in her cage. Oh, I forgot. This morning Ricky found Mrs. Mustard outside of the barn because I left this open all night. And so she got out and was just running around in front of the barn. And Ricky said he just picked her up and put her back and she didn't have any problems. So, I don't know, I guess they like it here. I guess I treat them well enough that they feel they can stay. Because I always forget to close this cage. I mean, I've seen other, like, rabbit experts who have these fancy cages where the rabbits can't get out, and my rabbits, they just stay. I don't know what the deal is. I mean, Nachier, she doesn't have any babies to protect. She could leave anytime she wants. I've come in after forgetting to close it, and she's running around on top, and then she sees me, and she runs and gets exactly in this cage, her cage. So, I don't know. I mean, she is a lot nicer than the other bunnies. I can pet her and pick her up and stuff. But Penelope absolutely hates me, and Mrs. Mustard, she's slowly but surely getting used to me.